Greetings, Crawford Ashley, the spiritual boxer, and I'm going to be talking about boxing as I always do. And basically, it's just like managers have been thinking about what to say. I always have loads to talk about when I'm at the gym, when I'm in the car going to the gym, when I'm with my son, or when I'm just out walking. Well, then as soon as you turn the camera on, everything just seems to poof out of your head and disappear. And it'd be nice to sort of like have some interaction, like sitting down and having a conversation with people. But I don't know, so I'm just going to be talking to myself today. And I was going to talk about Mr. Warren, Frank Warren, and I've got a suitcase full of letters backwards and forwards when he stopped me from boxing. And this is just off the top of my head. This is how I like to operate, just on thoughts and how things worked. When I signed with Frank after the Nun fight, full of promises, and I'd give up my title, and one of the stipulations of giving up the British title is you're #1 challenger. So if you want the title back, you can get it. So with me giving up the title and losing to Nun, I gave up the title when I was in Ireland with Eastwood because we was having a discussion, and Noel McGee was #1 challenger, and he boxed Maurice Corr for the vacant title that I gave up, and he lost it. Now I want it back. So I put into the board that I want my title back. So now nobody can box for the title. Nobody can box Maurice Corr for the title, only me. And this was going on for ages, and me and him never fought for whatever reason. He actually ended up either giving it up or getting stripped of it, because I prepared to fight him 5 times, and 5 times for whatever reason the fight didn't happen. I used to blame him, but listening to him speak now, you know what I mean, it could have been Warren just pulling strokes and tricks. And then he phoned me up for the Piper fight, and he told me that he's got me a British title. He thinks I'm an idiot, you know what I mean? Told me that he's got me a British title. It's against Nicky Piper, and I can't remember when the date was, but the press conference to announce the fight was the following day, and he wanted me down there. And they're like, the way the people speak to you on the phone. But I've gone down anyway, and we all know what happened, and blah blah blah. And another end to that, the Piper fight, it's like what he's doing with Yard and Arthur at the moment. Everything's for Yard, everything was for Piper. And then we come in and spoil the game. And then when I beat Piper, Piper went on to box for a world title. I don't understand that. Well, I do understand it. But this is how managers and promoters are. They're picking and choosing who they want to box. Anyway, I'm getting off the story. And this is the British Boxing Board of Control. I beat Nicky Piper for a vacant title. And he's got a brand new belt, and I get presented with a Lonsdale belt in the ring. When I'm in the changing room, one of the officials come in and said, "We need the belt back." Wait a minute, you need the belt back? Oh yeah, it's a new belt, you've already got one. I said, no, I've won mine outright. You know what I mean? Why do you want the belt back? Oh, we need it back, it's blah. And I just says, wait a minute, if Nicky Piper had won tonight, would he have took this belt home with him? He went, yes. I said, so this is my belt. No. In the end, the voice of me just said, fucking let him have it. So I just said to him, I said, take your fucking belt, stick it up your ass, but anytime I fight or defend my title, I ain't bringing my belt. You have to bring a belt. And the guy took the belt and walked out. I should have kept the belt and told him to go fuck himself. So I'd like to ask the board, why did they do that? What was it about me that you didn't want me to hold one of your belts? You know what I mean? Or was that down to Warren pulling his strings, puppets? But this is where boxing's got to. it starts off that these people who put on the shows, the promoters, they control all the power. And the fight is, you know what I mean, one or two make a lot of money and all the others were just fighting for scraps, putting on the shows. And I remember Jess Arden asking me to come down to a press conference because he was putting me on a show and promoting me a show. And another one I didn't like doing press conferences, but I have to help sell the show. So when I get down to the press conference, I'm looking around and all the posters on the wall have just got Spencer Oliver. I'm not even on the posters. So I asked him, you know what I mean, why am I here? To promote your show. He says, but you won't promote me being on your show, but you want me to promote your show. You know? That to me is just fucked up. And then they say you don't sell tickets. And this is the one that Maloney always played with me. I'm not a ticket seller. But yet everywhere I fought was packed out. But I'm not a ticket seller. But people will come to see me box. I remember being in Southampton and I got about 5 or 6 people coming up to me telling me that they're glad I fought in Southampton because they wanted to come and see me box. You know, I had one fight in my own town of Leeds, and that were packed out, banged out. Irish Centre, it wasn't very big, but it were packed out. But they say you can't sell tickets, but yet, it's like Terence Crawford, he can't sell tickets, but yet, the place is packed out. You know, the lie, and you can see the lie. It's like Maloney said to me, TV never wanted me. You couldn't give me the money I wanted because TV never wanted me. But back in the day I was on box office a couple of times. That was the pay-per-view. I never got anything. When I went to France to defend my title, my European title, against Pascal Warisfeld, the money they were giving me were crap. But I just wanted to fight. When I get there, I see Glenn McGraw and Ian Dark and ask them what they're doing there. They says, oh, we're coming to cover your fight. My fight? I'm not fighting. TV don't want me. I look at Maloney and Tony just says to me, go to your room, I'll get it sorted. I got an extra, I think it was 3 or 4 grand. But when people lie to you and you can see the lie, how can you trust them? You can't trust them. It's like I had quite a few managers, fucking 8 managers. Not one of them treated me right, not one. And in the end, I had an agent called Tony Breen. I want him back in boxing because it was more than, he was my friend. And that's it, he's my friend. And he wanted what was best for me. And I could see that, but them other managers, oh man. You know what I mean? I also could see that they wanted me beat. And when I went and I was talking to Tony, because I've been thinking about this one, and Baloney was his friend. And and I said he set me up. And Tony says, I don't think he's clever enough to think like that. But this is how my mind works. I've gone over to spar with Lennox Lewis at Big Bear, California, and it's at altitude. And Maloney's over there and that, and it's a nice camp actually. And while I was there, I got a thing of when I'm coming back. I think I was there for 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks. And I didn't want to come back on that day. I wanted to come back a week earlier for some unknown reason to me, but I did. And Maloney didn't want me back on, he wanted me to come back on the date that he set. So I phoned up Tony and I said to Tony, look, I want to come back on this date, but Maloney wants me back on this other date. So Tony did some checking and came back, he says, you're right, come back on the date you want to come back on. So I've come back. And then I went to see him and he was telling me about this thing called altitude sickness. When you come back down at sea level after 3 or 4 days, you get something that feels like the flu. It's your body's adapting to sea level. And it is like the flu. Oh man, it's bad. And I was out for 3 days. I didn't train for about, Yeah, 2 or 3 days. I was out just at the hotel. And then I fought, and I won. I boxed a guy called Salavangi who was unbeaten. And this is to people who start mouthing off about fighters being chinny and glass jaw. I got sparked by Clemenson a couple of months before, and Clemenson knocked me out in 2 rounds. It's on YouTube, you can find it. It's a bad knockout, but like I said to people, I made a mistake, I got caught, it wouldn't happen again. Now Salavangi had beat Clemenson twice, so Clemenson gave up the title. So they offered it to Salavangi versus Mark Prince. Mark Prince wouldn't take it, so they offered it to me. I said, yes please. And this is in York. And again, it was the headliner going over to when Lewis boxed, I think he boxed Michael Grant in America. So they did a show in England and then the last fight, and then it went straight over to America. So I wasn't getting top money. I wasn't getting, headline bill. I was on the undercard, but yet they wanted me to be the last one for the change over to America. So that to me is topping the bill. So I get into an argument with Maloney in the changing rooms because of the time. I'm boxing about 12:30 at night. And I says, I'm on it, the show's insured for Saturday. You know what I mean? But I'm fighting on Sunday. There's no insurance. So he's done all this running around. He says, oh yeah, we've got the show's covered. But it wouldn't have been covered. It'd have been just up until that day, and anything happened after 12 o'clock at night, it's another day. So I boxed Salavangi, I boxed his head off, I won. 12 rounds, hard fight. And then I thought back to when I was, if I'd have come back and when I got the flu, and the day I got the flu, or the day I was feeling the roughest, when I worked out, was the day I was supposed to fight. So if I'd have come back when Maloney told me to come back, I'd have been terrible. And then I would have been a washed up fighter. So was it down to Maloney? Did he have the brains to do that or not? But that's what I'm telling you, this is how my mind works and how I play things and how I see things. So I've gone into a ring who's beat the guy who knocked me out twice, and I've totally outboxed him. If I'd have listened to what these so-called experts say, I've got a glass jaw, I'm chinny, I'm over the hill. You know what I mean? Then I am. But if you don't listen to them, then you're not. I realised when I was over the hill against Sebastian Rothman, man, that was kind of not a good place to be in that ring. Everything was just too slow. I was just too slow. I was seeing openings and not capitalising on them. And punches that shouldn't have even hit me were hitting me. And I realised I'd just lost something. And that's when I retired. And like they say, it's one of the hardest things to do, and just to retire straight after a loss. Because there was no, going into the fight, I had no thoughts about retiring at all. But we're just in that, I just knew that was me finished. And like I say, it was the best decision I ever made and the worst decision I ever made, because I wasn't prepared for what was to come. And I don't think anything could. But there we go, that's another story. I hope you've enjoyed that little story about a few things. And if you do, leave a comment, a thumbs up, and give it a share. Because that's what it's all about, mate. It's all about spreading your stories and information and knowledge. And I've got a lot of knowledge up here, you know, a hell of a lot of knowledge. I've been in the game since I was 7. Been going to shows since I was about 8. right up until I was 37 is my combat career lasted from the age of 11 to 37. Always in combat, always in fighting, always learning. And yeah, it's time to pass it on. So if you're interested, get in touch. Do personal one-on-one sessions, or I can do group sessions, or I can even train trainers to train. You know what I mean? I'm a man of many talents. So if you like the vibe, please subscribe. And if you think it's of value, share it. And if you can't be yourselves, just be brilliant. Until next time, bye.